Hi, it's Friday and time to look back at what happened at Queen's Park and in Ontario politics this week. But first, in the federal election, advance polls are open this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. A lot of the federal party's election platform planks involve funding provincial government programs, responsibilities, affordable childcare, the federal government having gotten involved in affordable housing again, hiring doctors and nurses, increasing salaries for PSWs, producing green electricity. There are so many things that in the federal party's platforms affect the provincial government. You should definitely have a look at that, and please don't forget to vote. So this week, 3 items. The National Truth and Reconciliation Day is September the 30th. And Ontario decided, along with about half of the provinces, to not make it a statutory holiday. So I'll explain what that means. The Ontario Superior Court handed down a ruling this past week which said that the Bill 197, which increased the powers of the minister to use ministerial zoning orders to override local planning rules, that was illegal, and I'll explain why. The Financial Accountability Office produced a report this past week about Ontario's credit rating. It's stable, and I explain why and why that's important. So the first item is that the National Truth and Reconciliation Day, as decided by Canada's Parliament, is September the 30th. The federally regulated workers in Ontario, the Ontario Public Service, will get a paid day off work, along with other workers depending on, for example, collective agreements with unions. But Ontario decided to not make it a statutory holiday, so the private sector will generally not get a paid day off work. About half of the provinces have made this a statutory holiday and half of the provinces have not. It's a bit like Remembrance Day, which has had similar debates over whether it should be a statutory holiday or not. I think what's really important is what we do on National Truth and Reconciliation Day so that it's not just another holiday. The ministerial zoning order, the MZO powers, in Bill 197 were declared to be passed illegally. The Ontario Superior Court said this past week that the enhanced MZO powers to override local planning rules without posting that change to the Ontario Environmental Registry for public comment, that omission was illegal. But it's just a declaration from the court. There's no remedy or punishment, just admonishment, and it's a kind of a political remedy. So I think we need to write down a clearer rationale as to why we need ministerial zoning orders, and so that we can get clearer rules on when an NZO is appropriate and how it should be used and when it's not appropriate, so that these special exceptions declared by the minister can be used for the common good. The Financial Accountability Office of Ontario released a report on Ontario's credit rating, and generally speaking, the credit rating agencies did not change their ratings for the province of Ontario during the pandemic. And it's important because Ontario's credit rating affects how much interest we pay on our debt, and it affects how much money is left to pay for the other things we want. So great that it's stable. The credit rating agencies have noted some risks on the horizon. To be sure, all jurisdictions are facing that because of the pandemic. But I want to explain why Ontario has a stable rating, and it's important to keep these things in mind because we should try to preserve them to make sure that we're always paying a relatively low interest rate. Ontario has, to its financial advantage, a large and diversified economy. It has the economic capacity to handle tax increases if needed. This is something that the credit rating agencies have noted. And if needed, the market for Ontario government bonds to finance borrowing, that market is a deep market, which means it's easy to buy and sell bonds. And in particular, it's easy for the government to dip into that market to borrow at a financially convenient time, at the time that we want to borrow, not when the market lets us borrow. So those are the sort of things that contribute to Ontario's strong financial position. I think only British Columbia has a much more stronger credit rating than Ontario. Quebec might be slightly better. The other provinces are weaker than Ontario when it comes to credit rating. So we're in a pretty good position, and I hope we can keep it relatively strong. Thank you very much for watching this week. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and join me next week as I look back at what happened at Queen's Park and in Ontario politics.